guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you something easy, simple, delicious. It is a one-pot wonder, which you know, mildly obsessed with one-pot wonders. This is my quick one-pot lasagna soup. Basically, all the flavors you love about lasagna, they come together in about a half hour or so, and it is amazing in like a soup version. It's just going to be as cheesy, it's just going to be as saucy, it's going to be just as delicious as regular lasagna. Like, because the thing is, and I'm sure there's a lot of you like that out there like me, I get cravings, especially lately, and those awkward times. Like, who gets a craving for lasagna at 6:30 in the evening on a Tuesday night? I'm tired and I don't have time to make a lasagna that takes me 4 hours, which I love. It's a weekend thing. So this recipe comes in handy because it has all those beautiful flavors, but at a fraction of the time and hardly any work. The list of ingredients is not very long. You're going to need some additional ingredients later, but for now you just need some ground beef. What I have here are some diced tomatoes. These have basil and garlic in them, and some tomato sauce. These are lasagna noodles that I just broke up into bite-sized pieces. Chopped onion, chopped garlic, Italian seasoning, this is my blend, salt and pepper, a touch of olive oil, some beef stock, and you're also going to need a few additional ingredients, which we'll cross that bridge once we get to it. I've got a nice big heavy duty pot preheating over about medium-high heat. To this, I want to add my ground beef and my onion. Now the reason why I'm adding both at the same time, one, cuts on time, and two, I know that my ground beef is really lean, therefore it's not going to need to be drained. But if your ground beef is not as lean as mine, I would suggest sauteing that first and then draining out the fat. I'm just going to add a little pinch of salt to this. I'm going to break it up with my wooden spoon and let it cook for about 6 to 8 minutes or until it's all got really good color and the ground beef has cooked pretty much all the way. This looks great. Now you can see there is no fat in this bottom of this pan. When I buy ground beef, I like to make sure I buy the leanest, as lean as possible, simply because I don't want to have all of that fat in my food. But if your ground beef at this point has like any remnants of fat running through it, you want to drain it. Otherwise your soup is going to end up being really greasy. That's not good. At this point, I'm just going to add my garlic. I'm going to just cook this for like about 30 seconds. I kind of just want to wake it up. What I ended up doing with my garlic was I grated it through a coarse zester. I've been loving to do that lately because for some reason I think it makes the garlic really potent, but it also makes it kind of disappear in your soup or your sauce or whatever. Kind of dig it. And it's like easier than to have to chop it. So it's double thumbs up. This smells phenomenal. Just gonna let this go for a few more seconds. At this point, I'm just gonna add my tomato product and my stock. I'm using beef, but you can use chicken. If you want to, you can make this recipe vegetarian by simply substituting like some zucchini and some maybe some cremini mushrooms for the ground beef, and then instead of using beef stock, use some vegetable stock and it would be delicious. That's a different take to me, for me anyway, so I'm just going to stick to the traditional because when I want lasagna, I want to have ground beef in my lasagna because that's just what I'm used to. I'm going to add a hefty little pinch of my Italian seasoning blend. I'm going to bring this to a boil and I'm going to reduce the heat down to about medium and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. After that, we're going to move on to the next step and then we're like really close to eating dinner, which, yay, so excited. Now more than ever, I have to be honest with you. It's like the randomest times of day, I'm ready for lasagna soup and right now is that time, so we're speeding things up. Okay, just gonna add my pasta at this point. Now this is gonna need another like 10 minutes or so. Now this is when you can play around with food because let's face it, you're the boss of your kitchen, so you do what you want, boo. But what I'm saying is, if you want this to be like super thin and super soupy, add some more stock. I like it right in between. Kind of like a stew, but kind of like a soup. Rachel Ray calls it a stoop. I don't know, somewhere in between. That's how I like it. So I'm gonna just leave it like this because I find it to be the ratio to be perfect. I'm gonna cook this for 10 minutes and then we're gonna serve up. and then that's when it's gonna get all cheesy and delicious and amazing. It's gonna be awesome. This looks so good. I just turned it off the heat. I'm gonna add a few fresh leaves of basil, because I would add fresh leaves of basil, of course, in my sauce for my lasagna. And then a good half cup of freshly grated parm right in the soup. I'm just gonna give that a really good stir. At this point, I did turn the heat off. Oh, and it looks fantastic. Now, let me tell you what you can do if you want to. What you can do is you can add your ricotta straight to this, and it would be phenomenal. However, if you don't want to do that and you want to just add it on top, this is how I like to do it. You just ladle up. Oh, it's so good. It's so like thick and gorgeous. I love it. You ladle some of your soup. Then you do a sprinkle of mozz, because you know you got to have a little mozz. And then as you sort of stir all of this together, it'll all melt. Then you add just a dollop of ricotta right in the center. And then, can we just talk about this for a second? This is half of the block of Parmesan cheese that I have. Half. And then you just sort of do that all over the top. I can't, because the excitement is real up in here. The mozzarella is starting to melt. Look, and then you just, as you eat it, like, look what happens. Look, look. I mean, please. Come on. Listen. If you're gonna call something lasagna, it needs to have cheese, it needs to have that pull. This is perfection. The reason why I like to top it with my toppings as I serve it, because it makes a lot of soup. So if it's just Joe and I for dinner, I don't want to add all my toppings and then things kind of split a little bit as I store it in the fridge. So that way, as I reheat it, I can just keep topping it with fresh toppings, and it's just going to be cheesy and delicious. Look at that. Get yourself some. LauraInTheKitchen.com has you covered with a written recipe. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with me. This is so good. It's unreal. Make it tonight. You will not regret it. And if you do, I want to see a picture. So tag me, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you fancy. Hope you've enjoyed spending time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.